If you're watching this video, chances are you have been asking yourself some very difficult questions like, will my money last through my retirement once I return back to India? In fact, last month, a 50-year-old gentleman from Qatar reached out to us. He's been working abroad for more than 20 years and has built up a solid net worth of 10 crores. And he was getting ready to move back to India along with his wife. This is mainly for him to retire permanently. Now he feels very confident about the financial situation, and honestly, who wouldn't feel confident with 10 crores net worth, right? But when we sat down and really looked at the numbers, something very alarming came up. His current financial plan would leave him completely broke by the age of 70. Can you imagine? All that hard work of all those years of saving has simply gone to waste, and he still had potentially 15-20 years ahead of his life left for him. But here's the good news, that we didn't just identify the problem, we also fixed it. By using our retirement strategy, which we call as a bucket approach, we transformed his financial future completely. And with the same 10 crores, now instead of running out of money at the age of 70, he would actually leave behind a good legacy at the age of 90 for his kids. Now, it doesn't matter whether you have 3 crores, 7 crores, or 12 crores, or 10 crores. The lesson applies to all of you, because retirement planning isn't like a guessing game. It is an actual science, some numbers that go behind putting this thing together. I'm going to show you exactly how this thing works on my screen and show you what we exactly do for our clients returning back and retiring in India. So as you can see on my screen here, the husband and wife, their current age, let's say Mr. and Mrs. Reddy, their current age is 50 and 48, and they are planning and asking me whether can we come back to India at the age of 52, which is like 2 years from now. Our main intention is to come in the month of June, because that is when the summer vacations are, and it will give them an actual good transition, because the kids are right now in UK and US. So they would just go meet them and then maybe come back permanently. They're planning to come back to Chennai as a city. Now, if you see what are their income needs going to be. Now, anybody typically coming to a good city, a metropolitan city like Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad or Mumbai, will at least require somewhere around 2 lakhs per month from our personal experience to take care of things like having 1 or 2 maids, groceries, any other essential living thing that they might require, right? So the maximum expense that we usually factor in for just survival and living is 2 lakh rupees per month. And then because both of their kids are NRIs also, they would want to travel a lot, and that would again come at an additional expense. So till the age of 70, when they are fit and fine and they want to actually travel a lot and explore other things also, the monthly expense will be 3 lakh rupees in today's terms. Now, I have not added inflation immediately. I'll show you that in the next steps. Now, once the couple turns 70, beyond 70, their expenses will slowly start reducing. So we are assuming that from 71 to 75, their expenses are 2.5. And from 75 or 76 onwards, the expense comes down to 2 lakh rupees per month in today's terms, right? We are going to add inflation in the later steps. So this is how we are designing their income structure. Usually where people go wrong is they assume a fixed amount and then they think that it's going to go like a straight line. But that's not the case, and that is not what we encourage also. You should actually be spending a lot of money at the right age, and then eventually, because your health will not support you, you will reduce your spending. So 3 lakh, 2.5 lakh and 2 lakh is what we plan for our income needs. One thing is that for their kids' marriages and other expenses which might come as a lump sum, we have to keep aside 40 lakh rupees from their wealth, which has to be put into like a fixed deposit, and the expense might come in next 3 to 4 years at least, because they're 50 now and the kids are in their higher education colleges. They also have a property, investment property, from which they're getting a rental of 35,000 a month, which leads to like 4.2 lakh rupees per month per annum. And I'm assuming that this will grow by at least 5% every year, even though it doesn't happen that way. But for the sake of calculation, let's assume that if it grows by only 5%, what happens in that case? Now, the last thing is to look at what is their entire portfolio right now looks like, right? So the 10 crore that we have right now, most of that money is into NRI fixed deposits and FCNR deposits. Now, this is something very common with especially people based in Gulf, because both FCNR deposits and NRI deposits are definitely tax-free in India, but it also is tax-free for them in their resident countries. So that's why most of their allocation goes into these investments. So somewhere around 7 crores is into these fixed deposits, FCNR and NRI fixed deposits. And if you see, another 1 crore is into mutual funds and stocks. Now these are some ad hoc investments done here and there. So we will include that as part of our retirement bucket also. And then like we spoke about, apart from their personal home in India, they have an investment property of 2 crores from which they are getting approximately 35,000 rent post taxes and everything. So this is the entire 10 crore net worth. Now assuming their return back to India, they will now become a tax resident of India, and based on that they will not be able to enjoy the tax-free income anymore. So in this situation, what happens is their post-tax return on the entire portfolio is 5.18%. Assuming that the income is rightly divided into husband and wife, still they fall into the 20 or 25% tax slab, given the kind of income that we want to withdraw. So having assumed that situation and also keeping aside 40 lakhs that we want to keep for any short-term needs that we have, you see the financial asset net worth is somewhere around 7.5 crore that we need to utilize. Now, immediately after 2 years when they return, this is how their income need is going to be. Immediately the year that they come back, they are going to require 40 lakh rupees as expense, because if you remember, we took 3 lakh rupees per month and then adding some inflation to that. So 36 lakhs or 40 lakhs is what their annual requirement will be. Some part is already coming from the rent. So the remaining income need has to be withdrawn from the portfolio. And if you see similarly for their age continuously, this income has to be withdrawn. Now, if you see, every year we are withdrawing the income part from our portfolio, but because our portfolio is growing at only 5.18%, the depletion in the portfolio is happening, whereas at the same time our income needs are increasing with inflation. So even though we have a rental income which is increasing, still we are falling short of money. And the chart clearly suggests that at the age of 70, we will run out of money. We'll absolutely have no money to be able to generate our monthly income, whatever we want, not even 1 lakh rupees, right? So now there are only two options. Either you delay your retirement, instead of coming and retiring at the age of 50, you come back, work for at least 5-7 years more and then come back. But the second option that one might have is strategically manage these investments in a good manner so that you don't run out of money. And is there a solution? Yes. If you see, what our recommendation as your advisor would be to reorganize these investments in such a manner that now instead of making 5%, we make only 9% on your entire portfolio. And due to just this small change, in situation where you were running out of money at the age of 70, now you are actually leaving behind 26 crores for your kids and grandkids, right? So what is this change, right? It is no rocket science. It is simply rearranging your investments in the right manner, in a more tax efficient manner, in a manner where you are able to make higher returns, so that instead of running out of money, you get to enjoy money for 20 more years and you also leave a good legacy behind. Now, how does this happen? The simple solution is you take your investments, build right buckets in those investments, so that you can have a fixed income for a certain number of years, you have money for emergency, and then you have money which is growing also. So for example, our recommendation here is, first you keep aside 75-76 lakhs for your health expenses. This can be into a liquid fund, an arbitrage fund, and we have all these options where you can put the money into. Let's say we put the money into fixed deposits. The income bucket that we have, the money that we want, has to be put into a debt mutual fund. And there are reasons to that which maybe I would cover later on. But the strategy clearly tells that I want 7 years worth of income guaranteed coming to me irrespective of market situation. So that investment need not be linked to markets. And because of that, this money will be put into debt mutual funds. So you always have 7 years worth of money with you into fixed assets, so that you don't have to worry about market fluctuations. And the remaining money has to be put into diversified mutual funds, which can give us around 12% return. So debt funds post taxes will give us around 5%, FDs will give us 4 to 5%, and mutual fund post taxes will give us 12%. This is the current assumption, and based on the allocation, we can make at least 9.3% returns. And if you see at the asset allocation, only 46% of the money has to go into equity, which was around 15-20%, because if you notice, we had 1 crore rupees in mutual funds and stocks. So now if we increase that 1 crore to just 4.4 crores and the remaining money as it is stays into fixed deposits and all, you get this right allocation, you get this right returns, you don't have to liquidate your property, and you are still able to leave this kind of legacy behind for your kids. Isn't that amazing, right? Just making these right changes, tax efficient changes, and with a right advisor, this is the kind of difference you can make. And not only just this, let's say if somebody wants a lesser exposure to equity, if he says, I have not invested into equities and I personally don't like having that kind of volatility in my portfolio, I am not very keen on leaving too much money also behind because my kids are well to do. What if I reduce my exposure, right? In that case, if you see, rather than going with a slightly aggressive portfolio, what if we go with a balanced portfolio? Even in that case, instead of leaving 26 crores behind, we are only leaving 5 crores behind, right? So my suggestion here is that rather than continuing the way you were continuing, if you can always look for the right option, it can really change things for you. If you have the right advisor, if you have the right strategy with you, you can make these changes, and the portfolio is so secure that you have 7 years worth of income into fixed deposits, right? And debt mutual funds. What if somebody tells me, I want at least 10 years worth of money safe with me, I don't want to bother where will my money come for at least 10 years, and after that money you can put into equity. Why not? We can do that. If you do that, now you run out of money at the age of 86 rather than running out of the money at the age of 70. So you get 16 more years where you can spend good money. Also, let's say if somebody says, no, I'm okay taking risk because my kids are also well to do. So rather than keeping 7 or 10 years worth of money, I only want 5 years worth of money into debt funds and FDs. So in that case, if you see, now you are actually leaving a 60 crores worth of legacy behind, right? So you know your possibilities and you know what differences can be made. If 55% of the money goes into equity, which is only half of your wealth, right? If that goes into equity, you are able to leave 60 crores behind. If 45 goes, then you are able to leave 26. If 35 goes, then you are able to leave 0, but you actually get a good amount of life to spend your money with. So that's it for today. This is the power of right retirement planning. This is the same person, same amount of money, but two completely different life stories and life scenarios. And you know, when this client first saw this projection, he was quiet for a long moment. Then he said something that I will never forget. He simply said that, Alok, I wish I had met you 10 years ago. But here's what I told him, that it's never too late, and it's never too late to actually make right financial decisions and get started on the journey, because you have already saved so much money and you can try and make most out of it. So you can actually come back to India after 2 years. You can have the life that you want. You can leave good money behind for your kids and grandkids, all by doing right financial planning. So if you think this case study got you thinking about your own retirement numbers, I am happy to create a personalized retirement strategy for you along with my team. So please feel free to reach out to us for a consultation. Let me give you the right numbers for you so that it will not only bring you peace of mind, but also help you make your retirement and return back to India decision quickly. If you like this video, please share it with any NRI that you might know is planning to come back to India, and join my NRI only WhatsApp community, for which the link is in the description below. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next.